Right, hello, and thanks for joining me. Today I'm with my friend George round his place because he's invited me round to help him fit a new clutch on his bike, or rather a new clutch. It's the slave end, is it? New clutch slave cylinder. And the idea is that it will make the clutch lighter because they're quite heavy clutches on his bike. Your bike is a, I'll pan round and give you a shot of the bike in a second, but your bike is a...
It's a 2017 CVO Ultra Limited Harley-Davidson.
And they do have quite heavy clutches to these bikes. So, we're going to fit this today and see if it makes a difference. So the first job is the bags need to come off. I need to take a few bits off to get to what we need. So George is just stripping the bike down. Being the CVO, you've got lights inside your side boxes, have you? Yes.
Actually, central locking.
Central locking. Yeah. Ah. Yeah, this is the fancy version, isn't it?
Okay, so my exhaust has to come off or be loosened first so we can get the cover off the slave cylinder.
Right.
Just a couple of dual link clips.
Okay, so we've got the heat shields off the exhaust here, and to get to that you've had to take this footboard off as well, haven't you?
Yeah, just to give me a bit more room.
Yeah.
To do.
But we're getting there.
What we need to do.
You know, because you're so used to working on Harleys, you're pretty fast at stripping them down.
Well, the tough bit trying to get it to the exhaust ports.
Yeah, yeah. I've got to say that on my fat bob, the exhaust studs at the front have corroded. Yeah. And next time I take the exhaust off, I'm going to have a right job on with that. But I thought I'll worry about it next time I actually, take it off. Yeah. Okay, so at this point you've kind of stripped all the heat shields off. You've had to remove the rear bag, the right side bag, and the footboard, and you've loosened the exhaust off. Not actually taken it off, but loosened it off, which means we've got room to get through to the clutch here.
Before I actually remove this, I'm going to give it a clean round to make sure we get no dust inside when we reassemble the unit. So what we need now is a 7/16 spanner just to crack this connection off. Well, we're still attached to the bike, just makes it a little bit easier to handle. And I'll do the same thing with the bleed nipple. This is just a 3/8. To crack them off, but leave them on. Okay, so we just need to take note where this grommet is, so we'll just take a little Sharpie and just check where it is and make sure we'll put it back in the same place. Then, again, we can take our 3/16 Allen and just crack these off in small increments each way around. Yeah, typical, I can't get into that one here. Cloth under here just to catch any brake fluid that may get. Loosen our fitting. pop it up in the air so a lot of the brake fluid doesn't come out. There will be some, obviously. Okay, so that's our slave cylinder free from the bike. And we'll just clean this up in here. So we've got a nice clean surface to mate back up to when we reinstall. This seal has to come off. This needs to be reused on the new one. That will pop off. And we're also going to reuse that spring inside as well.
Okay, so it's really interesting to see a side-by-side comparison of this is the original slave cylinder and this is the new one, because you can see that the piston is so much bigger than the other one. Yeah, huge difference there in size. What make is this new one, George?
This is a Muller Hydro.
Muller Hydro. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the box.
All right. Just do a little shine on the box. Yeah. Muller Hydro. Excellent. Yeah. So, you know, just looking at the physical difference between those two, you would expect a big difference, wouldn't you?
You would.
It'd be very interesting to see what they're like. Okay, let's get it sorted.
Allegedly 45% better pull, or lighter pull. So
Okay.
taking this diaphragm off the old piston, and you can see there's a small groove in there which the inside of the diaphragm sat in. You must make sure that on the new piston that you get that sat in that groove correctly. From there we have to put the spring on the back and then reinstall the whole unit. That's us in. And then we have to seal this around the side. Let's check again. Nice free moving, that's just good to go. So now we have to reinstall the bleed nipple, reinstall this on the bike, and reinstall the hydraulic connection. Small tech tip may be worth for you, which I will do, is put a little bit of PTFE tape on the bleed nipple just to make sure it seats correctly and we don't get any leaks. Making sure not to block the small hole in the nipple. Start again. I'll put a PTFE tape on this as well. just taking these up in small increments, so we make sure we get it square and we don't pull it off to the side. So that's not totally tight yet. I'll just make sure we get this into the correct place. So this one can be nipped up. Okay, that's nipped up nicely. The blade lip is still free, and we can tighten these ones up. It's a bird with big feet, that.
So just cleaning up the chrome cover there.
The bits you can't get to when it's on the bike.
Yeah.
It's actually slightly rusted inside, so what I'm going to do is put some rust cure on,
Yeah.
to stop the rust getting any
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
I'll be using Hammerite Cure Rust, as I've used for many years, and we are not sponsored on this video.
Yeah. No sponsorship involved.
So we'll just paint that onto the rusty surface, and what I'll actually do is chemically change the rust into iron to actually stop the rust in its tracks, hopefully. I should actually paint over this once it's dry, but I'm too impatient. So it's going to go back on the way it is. Like that. Now we've got to bleed the system. Just put a cloth around here. If we do spill any, it doesn't go all over the place. Just make sure you don't split your gasket when you're taking this off. So we have new .4 Harley-Davidson brake fluid to top in, because that's what Harley recommend for this clutch. Okay, so we're going to bleed the clutch now. So we top the master cylinder up, put the bleed system on. Need to pump this up.
So we've bled the system, got it all back together. Obviously you can't tell this from watching the video, but what a difference that has made to the clutch. I mean, that is just... What did you say? It was about 40... They said about 45%. That's definitely... I mean, that is now a... I mean, I'm at the wrong angle to work it now, but that was either a one finger or a two finger clutch. Is that the difference is really quite incredible on that. Really quite incredible.
So
yeah. It just begs the question to me is, you know, why don't Harley-Davidson fit you know, a slave cylinder like that in the first place? You know, why do they have to be so heavy? Yeah. Right, so George, you're just putting the bike back together again now? I have to say, George, you're supposed to be putting that back together. This is the first time I've made a mechanicking video where I've not actually touched the spanner myself. It's been quite nice just working the camera and watching you.
Be a little bit of Loctite on these. I don't want these coming off. These two are the same top as the other bolts.
So you just took the flange off there just to loosen off the exhaust, did you?
Yeah. Just to give us a little wiggle room.
I should say I didn't film it, but we did start the bike, and you know, George just checked the clutch and make sure it was all working properly before we started putting it all back together, and it's fine, isn't it?
Thankfully, yes it is.
Got the exhaust back on, the heat shields, the front foot plate there. So George is just putting the rear foot plate and then the rear box, and we're all back together. Relatively straightforward job that, wasn't it, George? I think the biggest job was actually stripping all the stuff off to get to the slave cylinder, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the hardest bit. Okay, so that's it all buttoned up. The last little bit, put the bag on, plug the central locking back in. Central locking.
I love that central locking, eh? That's decadence, isn't it? Yeah, you know, I love that mechanism on these bags. This is so. I need something like that on my bags on my Harley. So right, faff on taking them on and off. So that's it all back together then. It's the bag back on, the exhaust all back together, all the heat shields on, footrests on. So yeah, job done. Take it out for a test ride and see what you think, eh? Right, so George has just been for a quick test ride of his bike. What's the verdict?
Well, all I can say is it does what it says on the box. At least 45%. Difficult to tell that, but it's a lot easier to pull in now. I think riding in traffic, riding in town is going to be a doddle now.
Yeah, so that was a morning well spent then, wasn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Well, thanks very much, George.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
See you next time.